He's always in service. We'll start with the song, which is written by Srila Vasudev Ghosh. Is one of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's internal associates. So he wrote many songs to glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is standing here just beside Radha Madan Mohan. You can see he is giving his mercy with his both hands. So we'll actually sing a song, Gora, Gora, Guno Gao Shuni. Yes, I think so. I cannot even see the font. Yes, I think that one, yes. It's very small. Okay, so this song, it says, Gora Guno Gao Shuni, Bohu Punno Fale She Bohu Mililo, Premo Poroshomoni. Like, please sing the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauranga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also known as Gaurango or Gora in short, because his bodily complexion is molten gold. So that's why he's also called Gora. So he's telling that, oh, please sing the glories of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It's our great fortune or great, I will say that piety, which brought us in connection with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bahu punna phale so pahu milulo. Pahu means actually Prabhu or Master. Prema Parashumani. He is the touchstone of love of Godhead. Akhilo jibero eshoko shayoro nayana nimisha sheshe. Oi premo lesho parashona paile parano jurabe kishe. Hare Krishna. The ocean of miseries of all living entities or every living entity, it can be subdued in a blinking of an eye if you get the mercy of his, a special love of Godhead. So if you don't get a tiny bit of the mercy of his love of Godhead, then how will you satiate your life, your soul? Parano jurabe kishe, because we are hankering for that. We are, hankering for that kind of bliss in our heart, in our soul. It says, Aruno nayone boruno aloyo korunayo nirikhane modhuro alape akhore akhore sudhadara borishane. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing always ecstatic symptoms. So one of the ecstatic symptoms is crying. So his eyes, which are like lotus-like, Aruna means actually when the sun rises, the color you see of sun, that is just like lotus, the lotus inside, it has that kind of color. And also conch shell also has usually that color inside. So he's saying that his lotus eye, which is like lotus flower, is always pouring water because he's crying in ecstasy. And also he's giving his merciful glance upon us while doing it. It's not only, he is experiencing it, he is also distributing it to us. So, Madhuro alape akhare akhare sudhadhara borishane means like the nectar of rain is actually coming from his lotus mouth when he's singing, he's speaking, he's dancing, everything. Who are around him, they're experiencing that kind of nectar. Premed holo holo puloko puralo apado mastoko tonu Vasudevo kohe shotodhara bohe sumeru shenjito tonu. So his body is always, as I was mentioning, this in ecstasy. So when you are in ecstasy, you will look like a mad person. A mad person, he doesn't have control in his gait, in his walking, in his movement. So he's like from head to toe, he is actually having that what is called intoxication of love, love of God. It's a different type of intoxication, which we are all aspiring for. And then Vasudev Ghosh, he is mentioning his name here, is telling that from that body, that perspiration, sweat, tears, all are coming. Just like, fountains are coming from Sumeru mountain. So Sumeru mountain has a very special quality. What is that quality? It has like many ores of gold. So when somebody sees Sumeru mountain from far ahead, far away, it can see that, it's like a golden mountain. It looks like a gold. And from that gold, the water, there are different fountains are coming. So Mahaprabhu's body is compared to as golden mountain because his bodily hue is like a molten gold. And that's why he's telling that, okay, the waters and the perspirations, the sweating which are coming, looks like, the Sumeru mountain flowing different mountains or streams of water from it. So it's a beautiful song. I wish you can also sing with me. It's a little unfamiliar tune maybe, but please try. Okay. By the way, His Holiness Bhaktichara Swami Guru Maharaj, he used to sing this very nicely. I tried to follow, but he is an excellent singer, so there is no match. But I will follow his tune. Gora go no gao shuni, Gora go no gao shuni, Gora go no gao shuni, Gora go no gao shuni. বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল, বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল, প্রেম পরশ মনি। বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল, প্রেম পরশ মনি। গৌরাগো নগাও শুনি, গৌরাগো নগাও শুনি। অখিল জীবের এসক সায়র, নয়ন নিমেষে শোষে। অখিল জীবের এসক সায়র, নয়ন নিমেষে শোষে। ওই প্রেমলেশ পরশ না পাইলে, পরাণ জোড়াবে কিসে। ওই প্রেমলেশ পরশ না পাইলে, পরাণ জোড়াবে কিসে। গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি, গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি। অরুণ নয়নে বরুণয়ালয়, করুণায় নিরীক্ষণে। অরুণ নয়নে বরুণয়ালয়, করুণায় নিরীক্ষণে। মধুর আলাপে আখরে আখরে, সুধাধারা বরিশনে। মধুর আলাপে আখরে আখরে, সুধাধারা বরিশনে। গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি, গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি। প্রেমে ঢাল ঢাল পুলক পুরাল, আপদ মস্তক তনু। প্রেমে ঢাল ঢাল পুলক পুরাল, আপদ মস্তক তনু। বাসুদেব কহে শতধারা ভয়ে, সুমেরু সিঞ্চিত জনু। বাসুদেব কহে শতধারা বহে, সুমেরু সিঞ্চিত জনু। গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি, গোরা গুণ গাও শুনি। বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল প্রেম পরশ মনি বহু পুণ্য ফলে সপহু মিলল প্রেম পরশ মনি. So this was kind of an icebreaker. So when we come, we need to actually first glorify the Lord. It can be through the mantras, through the song, or even through the discussion, which will be the next part. But before going to the next part, we can seek blessings from the Acharyas, from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled devotees, so that we can discuss something which can be applicable to our life, and we can take something to our home for practice, not just like, come here and just listen and forget. Okay? So let's do Mangalachan prayer, standard Mangalachan prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtham Sthapitang Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadhaitang Savadutang Parijana Sahitang Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namayong Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarine. Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mukhaṁ karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripat tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinotaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Vishwaram. Hare Krishna. So Prabhu will start with a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, 10th verse, which is a very important verse. And we can all relate to that verse because our situation is very similar. So in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran, when it starts, there was a big sacrifice was going on in Naimisharanya, which is considered the center of this universe. And in that sacrifice, all the big sages, they assembled there, headed by Shaunaka Rishi. And during that sacrifice, they also inquired to Srila Suta Goswami, who was considered amongst the topmost saintly persons assembled there. So they approached him, like, what is the best for mankind, especially in this Kali Yuga, like what should they actually do? And while approaching for the people of Kali Yuga, because they were actually doing the sacrifice for the benefit of the people of Kali Yuga, because they could feel that, oh, the Kali Yuga has so many negative effects. So how to subdue those negative effects? So Shaunaga Rishi actually quoted this verse where he was giving the example or qualities or characteristics of Kali Yuga people. So it's a very famous verse. We can actually chant it together. Prayanalpayashva sabhya Prayanalpayusha sabhya Kalo vasmin yuge janaha Manda sumanda matayo Manda bhagya hi upadrutaha Prayanalpayusha sabhya Kalau yuge janaha Mandaha sumanda matayo Manda bhagya hi upadrutaha Prayanu alpayusha sabhya Kalau yuge janaha Manda sumanda matayo Manda bhagya hi upadrutaha. So let's read synonyms of this famous verse. So it says prayana, almost always. Alpa, meager. Ayushaha, duration of life. Sabhya, member of a learned society. Kalau, in this age of Kali, quarrel. Asmin, herein. Yuge, age. Janaha, the public. Mandaha, lazy. Samandamatayaha, misguided. Mandabhagyaha, unlucky. He and above all. Upadritaha, disturbed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men almost always have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Maybe we can read together. O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men almost always have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. So, Anantanitai Prabhu, you want to read purport? Maybe first paragraph.
The devotees of the Lord are always anxious for the spiritual improvement of the general public. When the sages of Naimisharanya analyzed the state of affairs of the people in this age of Kali, they foresaw that men would live short lives. In Kali Yuga, the duration of life is shortened not so much because of insufficient food, but because of irregular habits. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. Overeating, over-sense gratification, over-dependence on another's mercy, and artificial standards of living sap the very vitality of human energy. Therefore, the duration of life is shortened. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Adin Prabhu, you can read next paragraph.
The people of this age are also very lazy, not only materially but in the matter of self-realization. The human life is especially meant for self-realization. That is to say, a man should come to know what the world is and what the supreme truth is. Human life is a means by which the living entity can end all the miseries of the hard struggle for life in material existence, and by which he can return to Godhead, his eternal home. But, due to a bad system of education, men have no desire for self-realization. Even if they come to know about it, they unfortunately become victims of misguided teachers.
Thank you. Mataji, you want to read? Okay, Subhadri Mataji, you can read. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Since beginning, Prabhu?
Yeah, in this age.
In this age, men are victims not only of different political creeds and parties, but also of many different types of sense gratificatory diversions, such as cinemas, sports, gambling, clubs, mundane libraries, bad association, smoking, drinking, cheating, pilfering, bickering, and so on. Their minds are always disturbed and full of anxieties due to so many different engagements. In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths which are not based on any revealed scriptures, and very often people who are addicted to sense gratification are attracted by such institutions. Consequently, in the name of religion, so many sinful acts are being carried on that the people in general have neither peace of mind nor health of body. The student brahmachari communities are no longer being maintained, and householders do not observe the rules and regulations of the grahastha ashrama. Consequently, the so-called vanaprasthas and sannyasas who come out of such grahastha ashramas are easily deviated from the rigid path. In the Kali Yuga, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with faithlessness. Men are no longer interested in spiritual values. Material sense gratification is now the standard of civilization. For the maintenance of such material civilizations, man has formed complex nations and communities, and there is a constant strain of hot and cold wars between these different groups. It has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to the present distorted values of human society. The sages of Naimisharanya are anxious to disentangle all fallen souls, and here they are seeking the remedy from Srila Sutta Goswami.
Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
So, can we connect with this verse or situation? Anything you find like intriguing here? Okay, maybe I'll just give you a nice story before we go to. Actually, there are 6 characteristics of Kali Yuga people are mentioned here in this verse beautifully, and Srila Prabhupada expanded in such a way, even though this purport were written maybe in 60s, early 60s, because Srila Prabhupada gave first canto purport before he came to US. But it's still so relevant, even after 60 years. It's so relevant to our current situation. And things are getting worse. They are not getting better. Like even though we see that, okay, now artificial intelligence also came into play, chat GPT and so. But you will see in course of time, these things will be used for, worse things rather than good things, right? Social medias are meant to connect people, but people became more isolated these days. Then, these advanced technologies, most of the cases people are abusing it for, wrong purposes. Anyways, I should not tell it because I am also a technologist, so I am also trying to, take the technology further. Anyway, so the point is, the Kali Yuga influence is very negative overall. And there is a nice story in Mahabharata where Pandavas were very concerned about Kali Yuga because Pandavas reigned this earthly kingdom, the whole earth. They were actually subjugated by this Pandava kingdom. So when they were there, no Kali Yuga influence was there. But when they could actually feel, when Krishna departed, they could feel that, okay, now the influence of Kali Yuga started coming, and then take to Vanaprastha. But they wanted to have a glimpse because they know by the, the rotation of the age, like, Satya, Treta, Daparya, Kali, sometimes also Satya, Dapar, Treta, Kali, it also comes in that way. So they knew that after this Dapar Yuga, Kali Yuga will come. So they were concerned that what will happen to the people. So these 5 Pandavas, they were together, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sahadeva with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna used to spend a lot of time in Pandava kingdom because he used to give a special affection to them. Sometimes even the Vrishnis or Krishna's own kingdom, Dwarakavasis, they did not have his association that much. But Pandavas, they used to have long, association of Lord Krishna, personal association of Lord Krishna. So they asked that, oh Lord, please tell us what will be the condition of people in Kali Yuga. Now Krishna has a special, arrow. Can anybody tell what is Krishna's arrow's name? Krishna is known also by that name also. Krishna's arrow's name is Sharanga. That's why he's known as Sharanga Pani. Okay, so he shoot 4, not arrow actually, bow. Sorry, I wanted to say bow. Yeah. So he shot 4 arrows in 4 directions. And he knew that, Yudhishthir, he knows, or he knew what will be the condition of Kali Yuga people, but the other 4 they were not sure. So he wanted to teach them by some practical example, by his illusory energy. So he sent them, 4 of them, in 4 directions. He sent like Bhima to north, then Arjuna to east, then south Nakula, and Sahadeva to west, like different direction. He shot 4 arrows in 4 directions with his bow, Sharanga. And then he said like, okay, tell me what anomaly you see when you actually try to find the arrow. What anomaly you actually observe. So first Bhima went in the north direction, and he found that there are 5 wells in a place. Well, in India, I think it's still many village areas, still people actually get water from well, right? Very deep excavated, hole, and then people bring water from there with a bucket or something. So he found that 4 wells were overflowing. Like, they had so much water, the water was coming out, but one of the well was completely dried up. Like, nothing was there. And it was completely purpose. Like, the same area, 5 wells are behaving completely different. 4 are behaving in the same way, and 1 is very different. So he came to Krishna with that question. And when he came, he asked that, Lord, I observed something very unusual, which is not acceptable. What? That I saw 4 wells are actually filled and they are overbrimming, and then 1 well is completely dried up. What happened? Then Lord Krishna said, this is the symptom of Kali Yuga. People who will have riches, they will have so much riches that they won't actually know what to do with their Lakshmi. That's why Vaisheshika Maharaj, in the class says, right? People in the Bay Area, they have so much Lakshmi, but they don't know how to use it. They are, always anxious. I need more. But they don't know what to do with that Lakshmi, because how much you can eat. You will eat only 2 or 3 rotis, right? Or maybe 1 bowl of rice. That also many people cannot eat. Only medicines they eat. Right? In Kali Yuga, that is the system. But you will sleep. And they cannot sleep without medicine. And that person who is, working day and night, they have a very nice sleep. So those people who have money, they have more anxiety most of the times. Upadruta, anxious. So these people, they have so much money that it is overwhelming. But most of the people, they will have no money, dried up completely. So there is an, problem or imbalance in distribution of wealth in Kali Yuga, and which we see in everywhere. You have money, you don't pay tax, right? Even some people even brag about it, that I don't tax because I am smart, right? This is the condition of Kali Yuga mentality, that those who have money, they can exploit and they can make more money, and those who don't have, they have nothing, and they will just live hand to mouth. So this is one problem with Kali Yuga. Then Arjun came, and Arjun was visiting to the east. And when he was visiting to the east, he heard a beautiful mellifluous voice of a cuckoo. Cuckoos very sings like, coo, coo. Actually, his name is Radhanath Swami Maharaj can actually imitate the sound of different animals and birds very nicely. So anyway, it reminded me when I was trying to imitate. So he was attracted, and he went near a tree, and the cuckoo was singing there. However, while he was singing, he was also eating a rabbit alive. And the rabbit was suffering. It was, suffering because it was leaving its body, and it was not killed completely. So it was alive. So Arjuna was completely, perplexed that what's happening here. That, so nice singing bird, but its attitude is so cruel. It's, behaving so cruelly. And he came to Krishna and he narrated this pastime. And all the other Pandavas are also there. And when Krishna heard This is the condition of Kali Yuga people. They'll be attracted by, different people who talks very nicely, who, who does nice word jugglery. They can present, nonsense theory in a way that people will get attracted, and they will be cheated. How? Their intelligence will be, spoiled. Their wealth will be spoiled. Their life will be spoiled. They're all things will be taken by these so-called saints or people of high thought. So-called in Kali Yuga we see that these yoga center, that yoga center, go yoga center, and you dress like half naked, and you become connected to God. That is the conception of Kali Yuga, right? People are propagating that, and that become very popular. Thousands of people, rich people, they are going there, and so-called educated people are going there to get some like realization which are not very high. And actually there is no realization, it's just some physical activities. Maybe that is some beneficial for them, but there is nothing connected to Krishna or spiritual domain in that activity. Okay, so this is the condition, that they will attract you. You will be attracted. Their words will be so nice music like in your ear. But when you go there, spend time, they will eat you alive. Means like they will suck all of your life energy, your possessions and everything. Because if you spend like 20-30 years in an organization, and after that you think like, oh, I spent so much time in vain, you cannot actually recuperate that 20-30 years. It's gone. So this is the condition of people and the exploitative mentality of Kali Yuga saints. The third, Nakula went in a place where a cow, it gave birth to a small calf, and he started licking it, whole body. They used, I don't know how many of you experienced that, but when cow actually gives birth, it actually becomes very affectionate. Motherly love and affection is there, so it starts licking. It shows its affection by licking. So it started licking. So the people who were taking care of that cow, they were trying to take away the calf. But it was actually holding very tightly, and it was not letting it go. It was just kept licking. And that's how the cow was not getting nourishment. It was actually getting pain after some time, because how much she can actually endure, because it's tender, right? So Nakula was also astonished that what I saw, this is very unusual. Like motherly love and affection should be in a way that it nourishes the child. But here it's actually spoiling the child's condition. What is that? And he asked Krishna that about that. And Krishna said, this is the problem of Kali Yuga parenting. Because they will chide, they will give indulgence so much to their kids that they will be spoiled. Now whatever they'll ask, I also personally feel like, when I deal with my daughter, whatever she asks, I try to fulfill it. But I can remember in my childhood, my dad did not do it actually as much. And I'm kind of sure that my dad's dad was actually more, negligent towards them, I'll say. That they did not have any of those facilities which we had, at least I had. So this is, the situation in Kali Yuga, that as the ages are progressing ahead, the situation of parenthood is like we are taking care of our kids in a way that they are getting spoiled. They have to be actually, anyways, I think it's a little bit controversial topic, but the point is, this is another symptom of Kali Yuga, that parents, they don't know actually how to raise them in a way that they can, face the worldly situation. Then the fourth condition is, when Sahadeva was visiting the west side, he saw a big rounded shaped stone. It was coming from over a mountain. And a very high speed. It was coming very high speed. And it was bulldozing everything on the way. Everything. And nothing could stop it, because it was having a very high momentum. But suddenly, a small plant which actually sprouted from the mountain itself, when it struck that plant, it somehow did not fall afterward. It stuck there, it stayed there. And he was completely shocked. He saw it like, hey, how it could be possible, because that was a big stone. It's bulldozing everything on the way. But I see now that a small plant is holding it. And he came to Krishna and asked about it. And he's saying, yes, the Kali Yuga mentality is like that that people will be rushing. They want to actually acquire more and more atyahar. The problem of atyahar. They want to accumulate more. But if, by any chance, by a special mercy of, by Agyata Sukriti, they come in touch with dharma, by, pure saints, by, pure consciousness, which is Krishna consciousness, then their, progress will be enormous. Then that degradation will be stopped very easily. So small, salpam apyasya dharmasya. Neha vikramanashasti prattavayana vidyate salpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahatvayat. Lord Krishna says in, I think it's 240 verse, that whatever small amount of devotional service we do, there is no diminution. There is no end of it. It will actually save us from a very big calamities in future. So that's why we should not take this thing lightly, that you are coming to temple, barring everything aside, especially in this long weekend, spending some time, definitely you are getting a special mercy of Lord Krishna. So we should appreciate that. All of we whom we assembled here, we should actually appreciate that, we have prioritized this activity over others. So this is Kali Yuga mentality. But this Kali Yuga has some advantages also, right? It's not that it has come up with all the negative qualities. It doesn't have anything bad, because that's not Krishna's intention. When Krishna sends Krishna is our supreme father. His what is that verse? 13th chapter verse. Aham bija pradapita. 13th chapter, I think 4th or 5th verse. Yeah, anyways. So he says that I am the seed-giving father of every living entity. Actually, anyways, yeah, it's not coming in my mind. Sarve yonishu konteya murtaya sambhavantiya tesham brahma mahadiyoni aham bija pradapita. Yes, thank you, Babu. Anantanidai, Babu. So he is the seed-giving father of every living entity. So when a father is affectionate towards his child, now Krishna, because we are not under the shelter, we are always under his shelter, but we don't realize it. So that's why he gave us some freedom, because we are not taking his, surrendering unto him. So he is giving us some freedom. He is letting us do whatever we like. However, he also gives us a chance to, progress. It's not that, in Kali Yuga we came, so there is no hope. It's not like that. Krishna also gave some hope also. When Parikshit Maharaj, we saw in first canto, in the first canto, first part, it discusses about, Shaunaka Rishi, Suta Goswami, the plot, how Srimad Bhagavatam is actually a description about Krishna's pastimes and his devotees' pastimes. Bhagavad Gita is about Krishna's instructions, whatever Krishna actually instructed to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they are same thing, but Bhagavatam is kind of in a story form, and Bhagavad Gita is a philosophy. There is no difference. You can say Bhagavatam is an expansion of Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavatam, the first part is about the plot, that how this description took place, how Suta Goswami described the Bhagavad Purana to Shaunaka Rishi and others. The second part, in first canto, it describes how Suta Goswami came to know about it. So he first describes a little bit about, the Mahabharata pastimes after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Ashwathama attacked Arjuna's, the fetus in the Om of Uttara, and Arjuna Brahmastra, he attacked with Brahmastra, and then Arjuna retaliated, and he was captivated, and he was punished, and then the Vishmadeva in his Sharashaya, means like in the bed of arrows, he gave instructions to Pandavas, and then he left his body, and then the Pandavas, they did rituals, and then Yudhishthir Maharaj, he reigned for some time, and then Parikshit Maharaj was born. Parikshit Maharaj was the grandson of Arjuna and son of Abhimanyu and Uttara. And then the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj was described. Then the Pandavas, they retired. They retired. Actually, Dhritarashtra, they retired, and then Pandavas, they retired. Because Krishna left his earthly pastimes, he unmanifested his earthly pastimes. Then Parikshit Maharaj became the king, the emperor of the whole earth. And when Parikshit Maharaj became the king, it was actually the starting of the Kali Yuga era. And he noticed that in his kingdom, a Shudra, in guise of a royal, is punishing a bull who is the resemblance of dharma. So this bull was so severely punished that 3 of his legs were taken away. Like he was crippled by 3 legs, only 1 leg was there. So the Bhagavatam describes that this bull is the resemblance of dharma, and dharma has 4 pillars. 4 pillars: Satya, Daya, Tapa, Shaucha. Truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and cleanliness. These are the 4 pillars of dharma. So 3 pillars in the Kali Yuga, they got completely destroyed. Tapa, Daya, and Shaucha. Satya is somehow or other, it is standing. So this Shudra, in disguise of a royal king, he was punishing. And when he was punishing, Parikshit Maharaj captured him, and he arrested him, and he tried to he gave him some punishments. So when Shruta Goswami and Sonaka Rishi, I don't know whether you can connect because it's a big plot. So they heard, they asked that why Parikshit Maharaj did not kill this Shudra king. Because who is Kali personified? He came in a disguise of a king. So he said, like, why he did not kill? Rather he let him stay. So the Acharyas, they explain that he did not kill Kali for few reasons. One of the reasons is like it is the cycle of age. Krishna arranged in a way that after Dapar Yuga, Kali Yuga will come. So it is one of the reasons. Second thing, even though Kali Yuga is advantageous in general, but it has some great advantages which is not seen so easily. So one of the Kali Yuga advantages that in other ages, if you think of a good thing and if you don't do it, you don't get any pahas karma. But if you think of a bad thing and you don't do it, you get bad karma, sinful reactions. Means like by thinking bad actions, you get reaction. But thinking good actions, you don't get anything. Okay. So this is Kali Yuga situation. Second thing is, in Kali Yuga, it's completely opposite. Like if you think of a bad thing and you don't do it, you don't get any reaction. But if you think of a good thing, you get reaction even though if you don't do it. Even though we think very less of a good thing because this life is now self-centered and all negativity around. But whatever we good thing think about, it gives us a good reaction. So we should be very positive. That's why when we come to an atmosphere like this, it kind of enhances the positive energy inside us because it connects to Krishna, the supreme energetic, so that we can actually enhance our positive energy. So this is one of the reasons. Second reason is, in other ages, people used to get perfection through very difficult processes. It is said that Kriti Dhayata Vishnu, Treta Yajate Makho, Dapare Paricharjako, Kalu Tannama Kirtanam. So in Kriti means in Satyuga, people used to do a lot of meditation. By the way, how many of you actually practice meditation at home? Okay, good. Oh, wow. Quite a large number of meditators here. Yes. But it's not so easy, especially, at least I can say for my example, because I do actually some meditation with chanting, but I see that my mind is, going here and there, especially if I'm not doing it in the morning. If I try to do it in the afternoon or noon time or in the evening, it becomes more difficult because the whole energy, the day's energy, it kind of overcomes me. So it's not easy. But in Satya Yuga, people used to do it for ages, for years. We see in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mahapuran also there are descriptions that people are doing austerity for thousands of years. Hiranyakashipu, even though he was a demon, he did his tapasya, austerity for 36,000 years. Quite a long, right? It's not so easy. So it's not practical. Then in Treta Yoga, it is fire sacrifice or sacrifice. Everything is sacrifice, but it's fire sacrifice mainly. Yajote Makho. So in Kali Yuga, the ingredients we actually get from any place, they're not pure. When you actually offer the ingredients in the sacrifice, they should be pure, especially the ghee, the charu, the grains you offer, they should be pure. But in Kali Yuga, everything is contaminated, fertilizer being used, the cows are treated, and then cows are artificially breeded. So it's very different situation. So the ghee and everything you get, they are not pure items. So that's why it's also not practical to do. And the mantras, the chanting of mantras, they are not also pure. Where are the Brahmins, Yagik Brahmins, who can actually chant the mantras purely? Even a small, aberration of chanting the mantras can bring huge negative result, which we see in Bhagavatam, 6th canto, where somebody just chanted something longer version than shorter version. It gave a different result. So it's not practical in Kali Yuga at all. Then, Dapare Paricharjako, this worshipping of the deities. Even though in our temple also we worship the deities, or worshiping of the deities is one of the main limbs of practicing devotional service in Kali Yuga, but it is not the highest priority. Because when worshipping of the deities, our body, mind and soul needs to be clean or pure. But that purity is not so easy to come by. Right? Though when you are so pure, Krishna can reside in your heart. But our heart is not clean. Our actions and everything is not that clean in Kali Yuga. That's why it's not also practical to do deity worship only. It's not only, I should say only, because deity worship should be part of your activities, but should not be only actions. So, but the last one, which is Harinam Kirtan, it can be done anywhere and everywhere, right? You can actually, there is a pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was actually going for Bhajya Kriya, means external activities. So one small boy, he stopped him because he saw that Lord Chaitanya was holding his tongue between his teeth like this, so that he cannot chant. He didn't want to chant Krishna's name while he was doing external activities. So that boy stopped him. Why, Lord, you are actually holding your tongue like that? Because if you leave your body, or somebody leaves his body while doing this, then where they will go if they are not under shelter of Krishna? So then after that, the boy was named as Gopal Guru. The Guru is spiritual master of the Lord. So he gave him the name as Gopal Guru Goswami. So in Kali Yuga, that is the good thing, that it doesn't have any Niyomito Smaranana Kala. There is no regulations of chanting the name of the Lord. No regulations. If you chant at any situation, you get the benefit directly. So that's why, even though this Kali Yuga has an ocean of faults, Kali Doshe Nide Rajan Asti Hi Ek Mahan Guna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramrajat. So even if it has an ocean of fault, but if somebody chants the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he gets the highest perfection. It is the best thing which brings this Kali Yuga to us. It's not so available in other ages, especially this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is given by the disciplic succession of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. It's so special that it brings the topmost level of devotional service among the most unqualified people. So we should take advantage of that. And even though this Kali Yuga is bringing so many faults, but we should also take the advantage, or Srila Prabhupada used to say that the best bargain and the best profit out of the bad bargain, right? Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Means like we have to be taking the best situation which Kali Yuga is providing, rather than thinking about the negative aspect of it. Okay, so this was kind of my presentation. But I want to hear from the assembled devotees about whatever we discussed, or if you want to add anything about your personal realization or any comment. Yes, Jamuna Mataji, you want to share something? Is there any mic? Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you so much for a nice class. And it was a really good presentation. I'm just wondering, so if it's just, if the main practice is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then there's so many other limbs, like you said, and it seems like maybe we should just focus on really being able to chant the Maha Mantra concentrate, practice this one rather than the other limbs. And you mentioned like deity service, right? So there's deity service in the temple and then at home. So it seems like there's also a different mood when you're worshiping the deities in the temple, and maybe you should be more advanced or something than worshiping at home. So if you can just speak a little more about these different limbs and why it's important to practice them as well in this age of Kali.
Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful question, is very practical. Why we actually do other limbs? Because in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 64 limbs of bhakti practices are mentioned. Even Srila Prahlad Maharaj in his instruction, speaks about 9 limbs of bhakti, starting from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So the main goal is to chant purely, Shuddha Harinam, right? That is our main goal. But it's not so easy to go to that level. When you are chanting Shuddha Nam, Krishna is staying in your tongue. Tunde tandavini ratim bitanute tundavali labdhaye karna kod kadambini ghatayate karnar budebhyas priya cheto prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyana kritim na jana janito kriyadbhiramritoi krishnati varnodvai. What are the nectar in the name or 2 syllables Krishna? I don't know. Srila Rupa Goswami is speaking this. That when I speak of Krishna's name, I wish that I have thousands of tongues. When the names come into my ear, I feel like I have millions of ears. And when it goes inside my heart, it takes or it conquers all the senses I have. This is the experience. Do we have that experience? No. That's why we need to, I will say, complement Harinam chanting with other services. Because Harinam chanting can be impersonal also. Do we see Krishna while chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? No. Even while deity worship also, we don't feel like we are worshipping Krishna as personified. Right? That faith is not there sometime. So we commit offenses, and that's why, devotees like Raman Saka Prabhu are there, who are actually, rectifying us and making us sure that we actually align our understanding completely. So the point is, Mataji, that when we do other services, it enhances, it brings our attention more towards Harinam. That is our goal ultimately. Because if we do Shuddha Harinam, everything else is already covered in that. And that's why Babajis in our Sampradaya, 6 Goswamis, they did not worship, they did not they used to listen Bhagavatam, that's a different thing. But the point is, they used to chant day and night, literally 300,000 names, 200,000 names, because they had so much energy. I have 16 rounds become, sometimes burdensome, because especially I mentioned you, if you're doing chanting most of the rounds in the evening time, you will be feeling like, now I have to complete. It's not like I'm giving attention to Krishna. So that's why when we are doing other services, it facilitates. It makes the connection, and ultimately we should increase. Today I was watching that initiation ceremony in Sadhu Sangha retreat. There His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj was emphasizing minimum 16 rounds. Indra Maharaj was telling 16 rounds is the beginning. You should keep on chanting. He also referred Srila Prabhupada's dialogue that, 16 rounds and you should keep on chanting all day and night as long as you have some free time. So that is our goal. But if we don't have that relationship with Krishna, with the whole, entourage, is very difficult. That's why, regarding the home worship and temple worship, home worship is like a family member. So with family member, we are it's not that we don't maintain any rules and regulations, but we sometimes, like adapt. I will say that I won't actually do home worship at the same time every day. It gets changed. The Bhoga offering is also, whenever we cook, we offer. But in the temple, it doesn't happen like that. At 4:30 p.m., Sunday Bhoga offering, you see that the table is already ready. The Bhoga is coming. 5 p.m. is the evening Arati. It will be like fixed. So the schedule, it's more of an opulence, and that is more of a sweetness, because that deities of your home, they have a personal connection with you. And also we see our acharyas, like Radha Vinod, the deities of Lokanath Goswami, he used to carry them in his around his neck in a bag. So there was no big arrangement. Lord Sanatana Goswami used to only offer dry roti to Radha Madan Mohan, which he complained about, why you are giving only dry roti to me. So this is the mood, the devotees has. But When you are coming to temple, there is a standard and we should follow the standard. And there should be certain qualifications, because somebody who is a certain level of qualified, we know they will know certain Vaishnava etiquette, certain kind of things, and they are eligible because they already showed their commitment to learn those I'll say the skills. So yeah, that's why it's a little different then. But anybody can worship Gaur Nitai at home, irrespective of being initiated or not, because they are very merciful. And if you just chant, offer a little bit of bhoga, I don't know whether it's a big answer, Mataji. Please forgive me, but wanted to clarify for other people. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
3 questions, if you could answer, if you want to narrow it down to one, your call.
Sure.
One is, why 16 only? Right?
Okay.
I know you've referred this at other places. Second is, when you say Shuddh Harinam chanting, are you talking about Shuddhi of lifestyle or pronunciation? Because if you're saying pronunciation, some would say it's Krishna, some would say it's Krishna, some would say Rama, it's Rama, so that piece. And third is group chanting, like the Jap circle. I've attended a couple, I've seen people, they're not chanting in unison, everyone is chanting. Is it so? Any thoughts on that?
Excellent point. Okay. The first question is, you were talking about that, I forgot the first question, sorry.
Why 16 only?
Oh, 16 rounds, yes. So 16 rounds because Srila Prabhupada actually gave that regulations that he fixed the number for us. So different acharyas, even our Gauriya line also, there are different acharyas. They give different number. Like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in one places he mentioned that we should chant 64 rounds. 64 rounds is quite long, so 8 hours of chanting, which is very difficult. And even Srila Prabhupada's Gurudev, spiritual master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he gave his brahmachari disciples to chant 64 rounds. So those who are living in the temple, they used to chant 64 rounds. But when Srila Prabhupada was approached by his disciples, what should be our standard? He said 16 rounds because they were actually, he started from 64 but ended with 16 because they were giving different examples that, we are in Western world, we have so many duties, or every daily chores should be taken care of by us, so it's not practical, and we are also doing preaching activities. So preaching and everything are also connected to Krishna, so they are also included. And people, while we are speaking Krishna Katha, this is also kind of chanting, but it's not Harinam chanting because that is actually Shankha Purvak. There is a number associated with it. So it's because Srila Prabhupada gave us the 16 round, and he also gave us the 4 regulative principles. So we stick to that principle. It may be some other school, they can have a different number, maybe 8 rounds, 4 rounds, 32 rounds, whatever. But we follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Second is the Shuddhanam part. I think that is your question. So Shuddhanam is the highest stage where when you are chanting Krishna, you experience Krishna's presence. It's not only pronunciation. So pronunciation, posture and prayer are important. Pronunciation is like you have to chant Krishna's name very clearly. Prayer is like when you are chanting, what is your goal? And then posture, like you should chant in a way that your bodily posture is helping you to align your energy to hear Krishna's name. So these are like kind of initial stage when you are trying to do sadhana. When you are advancing, your pronunciation may be faltering. Like Mahaprabhu, when you used to call Jagannath, sometimes in ecstasy he will chant like like that. In Ratha Yatra pastimes he heard. So that is kind of another level of perfection, that you are feeling ecstasy when you are chanting. And that is also your goal, that when you want to chant but you cannot chant, that means you have perfected your sadhana. So when we come to that stage, that pronunciation is secondary. Krishna knows our intention. He doesn't only go by the mechanical chanting, because that you can record your chanting and you can hear all day long, but Krishna will not know you attracted that. He wants your attention. That is the primary thing. So anyway, so pronunciation is secondary part. I forgot by the time your third question, but yeah. Group japa, yes, because japa is an individual service. Sankirtan, when you are doing, chanting together, it's a congregated effort to please Krishna. And that's a good advantage in Sankirtan, that maybe somebody is very advanced, somebody is not that advanced. When somebody is advanced chanting, Krishna gets attracted to it. So you feel that when you are doing Sankirtan, there is a special ambience and environment, because somebody may be chanting with, his heart open. He is very clean in heart. But you are chanting yourself, maybe it not be that potent. But japa is your individual commitment to Krishna. That, oh Krishna, I want to actually remember you this many times. And I want to remember in my own way. Some people actually align with Acharya's chanting like Srila Prabhupada's chantings. But I prefer personally to chant on my own rhythm, in my own way. Because Srila Prabhupada has his own rhythm, his own type of pronunciation. I have my own rhythm. Yeah, pronunciation, because I have also a Bengali accent. So it will be different, subtle differences are there. But that's completely fine. It's not so japa can be not in illusion. But if we are doing japa for certain occasion, just for example, like we are doing a group japa for someone's benefit or for some causes, then it should be in illusion with the person who is leading the japa session. That is fine. Like sometimes if you are chanting with Vaisheshika Prabhu, like he leads in the class also, right? I think recently he did not do for many times, yeah, but he used to do it before. So that time we used to chant in unison together, right? In the same pace and same pronunciation. Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Kennedy Mataji, right? Yes, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. I absolutely adored the topic today, especially with the way you explained it, because it reminds me how in this yuga, as Krishna has no responsibility towards us, he has no duty, he does this out of love. He has created this situation for us because he loves us and because he wants us to succeed. And to live in a universe where the entity that we love only wants to see us in the best possible way, only wants to get us through this and get us back home, even in this time when we are inundated with war and AI ethics and these really hard questions. It all comes back to the simplicity of this time and that he's given us this foundation to work with, and the mercy of Prabhupada for only giving us 16 rounds. So,
Yeah.
thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for reflection, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anyone else? We have some time. Yes. Yeah, he has been here since the beginning of the class. What's your name? Lakshman? Laksh. Okay, nice. Laksh. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I loved your class today. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
I enjoyed hearing about the topic. So my question was, how do we like improve our japa so we actually hear what we're saying? Because I find that when I do chanting, I just chant and I'm thinking of something else and I'm not able to focus on Krishna's name. So how do we focus more on his name?
Excellent question. It is very relevant to everyone. So I will share my personal experience, which helps me, and you can try it at your home. So one thing is read about the glories of holy name before you start your chanting of japa. Something, one small paragraph, or one verse or something, and appreciate that you are getting a chance to chant holy name. I asked this question to His Grace Satyadev Prabhu when we were in a yatra in Jagannath Puri Dham, and we had an ecstatic japa session in Siddhabakul, where Haridas Thakur used to chant his rounds. And I saw that one devotee, she was crying after the japa session. And I envied her. I told, how that Mataji is experiencing so much bliss while chanting, and I don't have, that connection with Harinam. Then I asked Prabhu while we were walking back to our ashram from that place, and I asked Prabhu, Prabhu, how actually I can be always alert, or I can appreciate, I can be, connected to holy name. And he said, please appreciate holy name that you are able to, take his shelter. Please appreciate that part. Then it will come to you. So when you read the appreciation of acharyas, or the glories of holy name, then you will be, you will feel more connected to it. It will help you definitely your japa session. So please try something. We have a book called, Chanting Harinam. What is that book's name, Prabhu? Srila Prabhupada's, quotes. Chanting Hare Krishna, yes, exactly. Yeah, Chanting Hare Krishna. So it's a very simple book. I think we have in our book room. You can collect it. Or there are many quotations from Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas about holy name's glories. Just like the verse I actually quoted. It's such an elevated verse. Even Mahaprabhu, when he heard this verse, he became ecstatic that how Rupa Goswami could write such an esoteric, meaning of chanting of holy name. So yeah, you can remember that. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. So are these glorifications of the holy name? Are they like where would I find them? Are they?
Yes, Rupa Goswami also read Namastakam. You can also remember that Srila Prabhupada recommended it also to get rid of Namaparad, because Namaparad is kind of hindering us to progress in devotional service. So if you remember Namastakam, if you recite them, and Vaisheshaka Prabhu also emphasizes us to memorize it, and then it helps you. It helps you.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Also read Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela, where Mahaprabhu actually discusses with Haridas Thakur, and through him he reveals the glories of holy name. Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela. If you don't have a set, our devotees can help you to get a set at home. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Jamna Mataji wanted to share something, I guess. Oh, I see. I see.
Like exercises. So I just wanted to say
Excellent.
Sachinandan Swami wrote a book, The Glories of the Holy Name, and it can help. He has a lot of practical exercises, and it's really nice to just focus on one thing, maybe for a week or at a time. Really, he has very simple, practical advice about how to set your situation up so you can actually focus and hear on the holy name. And I feel like in our day and age, we're so busy and we have so many distractions and things are always pulling our mind. And actually, because of the cell phone, we're really used to always having instant response to things. And like our mind is always busy, right? So I found his instructions, if you can just focus on one per week, and just really pay attention. For me, it helps to calm the mind down if you listen to these instructions. For an example, he says just pulling the ear like this so you can actually hear the holy names when you're chanting. And I find these little exercises can really help you focus on what you're listening to, because sometimes it's hard. But I loved your answer too, but I just wanted to add that because it's a really good book.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, actually Sachidananda Maharaj actually conducts Harinam workshop also. One time he actually conducted one seminar in our temple also. Brilliant seminar. Yeah, I did not read that book. I read actually a book written by His Holiness Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj. This is also very deep. There are deep meanings and things like that. That's also very helpful for meditation. It's a big book, but I think that can be also helpful. I would definitely like to venture into that book also, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. What's the name of the book, Mataji, if you can mention? Glory of the Holy Name. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Oh yes, please go ahead, Mataji. Yes. After that, the problem.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I'm new to the system and I feel overwhelmed because I took this book set of Srimad Bhagavatam and I have the Gita and I'm like
lost
because it's a lot.
I see.
I was telling them, give me one book at a time. They said, no, you have to take the whole set. I was like, okay, but I'm not able to read or focus. I'm jumping from one thing to the other. So what is the first thing that needs to be done?
Okay, great. Thank you, Mataji. The first thing need to be done is to come into the association of devotees, which you are coming. So you already passed the first, exam. Second exam is, I will share my experience. So I got first Bhagavatam set when I was maybe in 6th or 7th grade. And it was not like full set. It's only first 6 books because I got it in Bengali. And things were not completely translated. All 18 sets were not completely translated in Bengali at the time. So it was coming in 6. So by the time I got next 6 set, I think I was in 8th grade. So what I used to do, I used to open any Bhagavatam and there are beautiful pictures. You will definitely get attracted to pictures, if not the verses. Verses may come, later little. So you look at the pictures and try to find, which story or which pictures attracts me. And there is a nice, description or synopsis of that that pastimes which are described in the picture underneath, and there's a page number also. Please go to that page number and start reading from there. Anywhere, any book you open, you feel connected to anything, just start it. You will feel like, okay, like I used to get attracted to Narasimha Bhagwan's pastimes, Prahlad Maharaj pastimes, even Puranjana's pastimes, which I did not understand at that time because it's a little bit higher philosophy. But I never actually got attracted to second canto. Up until now, when we started reading the second canto in the Association of Devotees, because it's very philosophical. But you can start from anywhere, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit, and anywhere you actually bite it, you get the juice. So you start, make a connection, and then when you feel like, okay, I want to now learn more, then there is a systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam also, which is called Bhakti Vaibhava course, which is after you complete Bhakti Shastri, where we study Bhagavad Gita, Upanishadamrita, Ishopanishad, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu first part. Then we go to Bhakti Vaibhava, which is a 4 years course in our temple. And then you complete the first 6 canto. And then Bhakti Vedanta is the second 6 canto, which is another 4 years. So it's a lifetime investment, Mataji. But don't get overwhelmed. Start somewhere and be connected with Bhagavatam.
Thank you for that. But still, the first is the chanting. Focus on the chanting, right?
Yeah, it should be parallel. I will say, chanting and reading also should come, because if you are not philosophically convinced, it's very difficult to continue chanting. You should be also philosophically convinced that why you are chanting, what connection you want to establish. There are people who chant to merge into the effulgence of Krishna. That's not our conception of chanting. So that's why we need to connect with Shastra also,
Okay, but I have the faith.
Yes.
So that is my pillar.
Excellent. Yeah.
So it's okay to just stay with that for some time, and when something pulls, just go there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's, anything you can connect it with, that is good. Yeah. But please keep coming to the temple. That we request you. Kennedy Mataji, you wanted to share something? After that, Prabhu, actually,
I just wanted to respond to that real fast because I'm relatively new still, and it can be overwhelming to see the amount of literature as well as the association of so many wonderful people. But I just wanted to say your courage is amazing, and the faith really is one of the biggest parts. But the best thing that helped me was, as you go through, find the literature that helps you connect with the chanting. It's really a personal process, and when you're open to it, this magical thing happens where Krishna puts the right things in front of you at the right time. And I really look forward to seeing you here more often and seeing how that affects you.
Thanks.
He was next. You might have.
Yes, after Prabhu, yes. Yeah, Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for taking my question. My question is about the way the chanting is done. I usually prefer to sit down in one place, typically in front of the deities, and then do the japa. I do a slightly different japa. I do Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, but I feel more or less it's somewhere boils down to finding that path. But I have heard of people who say that you can do the japa while you're doing other activities as well, like if you're watching TV or even if you're doing dishes, you can take the naam and then that still counts. So I'm a little bit dilemmatic on that one, if that really counts. Because there are anecdotes in our scriptures wherein they suggest that you do things one at a time. And this is such a thing that really needs your undivided attention. So what really counts? That is my question. And what is the suggested way of doing the chanting? Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So there are, some general principle and there are some specific principle. So one general principle is smartebhya satatam vishnur, bismartebhya na jatachit, sarva vidhi nishedasya retairava kinkara, which actually, it comes in Vishnu Purana, and Srila Rupa Goswami says yena tena prakarena mano Krishna niveshayat, sarva vidhi nishedasya retairava kinkara. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. These are the two principles. So, by hook or crook, by any means, always try to remember Krishna. If you do that, all the other rules and regulations or all other restrictions, they're subservient to it. Means like inside it, everything is there. So if you can do that, that's good. So that's why, khaite loite shuite jathatatha naam loy. There is a verse and I don't know, maybe Chaitanya Chaitamrita or other scripture. It says that while eating, sleeping, or doing any activities, somebody is chanting holy name of Krishna. This is actually appreciated. However, the japa, the fixed number of count of Krishna's name which you have vowed for, or your part of sadhana, it should be with full focus. You should not do it like, okay, even though I also sometimes don't comply with this rule, but it should be as much as possible with full attention, because that's your personal time with Krishna, personal association with Krishna. So you want to give full energy to it as much as possible. Maybe some people don't have that situation, like a young kid somebody has. They don't have that much time, so they have to sometimes multitask. But as much as you have that privilege, please do it. Please do it. But other times also you can keep continuing. It may not be counted as your, the prescribed number of, chanting, but it can be. It's always good to actually chant Krishna's name. You are always connected to Krishna. Yes, that's good.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, this is our last question, and then we can go for.
I think I just wanted to add to. I'm relatively new,
Hare Krishna.
To this as well. And what really helps for me is the time when I don't feel connected. I read Bhagavatam, and when I really feel it, that I restart the chanting part. So that really helps. And I think my question is around that as well. Usually, if you're chanting for a while, you do not feel the same connection as you do when you start out. So how do you maintain that connection?
Excellent point.
For a longer time, yeah.
This happens because when chanting and aparad, they go in parallel, then the ecstasy of chanting, that gets subdued. Because chanting is a connection to Krishna, but if we are doing offenses, different types of offenses, there are mainly 4 types of offenses. One is namaparad, offenses towards the holy name. Then one is seva aparad, doing services to Lord or to deities, you are committing offenses. Then one is dhamma aparad, you are going to a very holy place, like you are coming to temple, but you are committing an offense. Like there are different types of offense. And then Vaishnava aparad, there's committing offenses towards the Vaishnavas. Among these, the Vaishnava aparad is the most degrading. Nama aparad, you can get rid of it by chanting more. You said, oh, I am committing an aparad, but I want to chant more. I want to give more energy. Dhamma aparad also, if you are under doing it service under the tutelage of your spiritual master, he can actually help you. And also seva aparad. But for the Vaishnava aparad, it's very difficult to get rid of. So that's why when we are committing offenses, that reciprocation gets subdued. So we should be careful. So Vaishnava, this is not about only chanting, it's about everything about Krishna. So everything about Krishna, we should be conscious about it. That, this is something very valuable. Like if you have a valuable jewel at home, you are always conscious, I have like 2 diamonds. You keep it in a very secret place. And you sometimes check or, make sure that it is secured. So that it is like that you are conscious that something I have come here, it's a valuable place. It's not just like any disco party or anything. It's a valuable, so we should be conscious and we should deal with it in that conscious manner. Then Krishna helps us. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we have only 5 minutes. Maybe we can do some small kirtan to conclude today's session. Yeah, thank you for attending so patiently. Namayang Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Shri Ram Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, समस्त गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निदाय गौर शीतनाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So next part of our program is Sandhya Arati of Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Siman Mahaprabhu Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Panchatattva Shri Acharya Parampara ki. So we'll all stand up, we'll put our seats in that back side, and then we'll do a dancing and kirtan together. So thank you everyone for attending, who joined us from online. Thanks everyone. And if I have spoken something which is against the principle of the teachings of our previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Vargas, please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kipa sindhu bhayavacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Hare Krishna. Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kashobha Kiva Jaya Jaya Chande Arati Kashobha Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandir Arati Kashobha Jaya Jaya Janavi Tatavane Jagamanalobha Janavi Tatavane Jaga Jana Manalobha Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jagajana Manalobha Angera Ratika Shobha Gaurangera Ratika Shobha Jagajana Manalobha Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Vadaki Nitai Chan, Vame Gadadhara. Nikate Advaita Shini Dasa Chakradhara Nikate Advaita Shini Gaura Chanda Apna Simhasana Arati Karina Brahma Adi Devagane Hari Adi Kori Amara Dhulaya Jaya Mukunda Vasu Adhigaya Bade Ghanta Bade Bade Karatala baje, ghanta baje, madhur 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 baje. Ghanta baje, ghanta baje, madhur 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 baje. बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे रंगेरा रोतिक माधे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर मधुर ताई गोरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल ताई गोरा हरि बोल अहो कोटि चंद्र दिनी अदान उजाला भला देशे बनमाला ओरे जलमाला शुकनारदा इने गदगादा विनोदा गौरार संपादा भगति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीनाथे भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने विष्णु पदाय नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशकारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण प्रभु नित्यानंद Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala 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 Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jai Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari, Radha Giridhari, Radhe Radhe. Radha, Shyam Sundar Radha, Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Nara Hari, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Nara Hari. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaur Hariva. Hariva. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pribradikacharya Stotrasat His Divine Grace Abhay Charnar Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pribradikacharya Stotrasat His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र धाम की all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्ण। जय जय श्री नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय नरहरि रूप की जय श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रपाद की गौर श्रीतनाथ प्रेमानंदे। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लाद दायिने प्रह्लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपुर भक्षा हरि बोल हिरण्यकशिपुर भक्षा शिलादा खाना खालाए शिलाटं खाना खालाए इत्तानि सिंहा परतानि सिंहा हरिबो ईता नृसिंह परत नृसिंह जाता जाता जामि तत नृसिंह हरिबो जात जात जामि तत नृसिंह बाहिर सिंह हृदय नृसिंह बाहिर सिंह हृदय नृसिंह बाहिर सिंह हृदय नृसिंह नृसिंहमदिं शरणं तपदे नृसिंहमदिं शरणं तपदे कमकर कमलवरे नाथ अद्भुत सिंगा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तबगद कमलवरे नाथ अद्भुत सिंह दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तब कर कमर भरे नखा अद्भुत श्रृंग दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तब कमल वरे नखा अद्भुत सिंह दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय जय नृसिंहदेव भगवान की, जय नरहरि रूप की, जय प्रहलाद महाराज की, जय समय श्री गौर भक्तवृंद की, जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, जय निताय गौर सीतनाथ प्रेमानंद हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Thank you everybody for coming to ISKCON of Silicon Valley on this beautiful Sunday afternoon to attend the Sunday Feast program. We heartily welcome each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. So today we had a wonderful Sunday Feast lecture, very engaging discussion led by His Grace Koladwipa Prana Prabhu. So let's give a big round of applause. Prabhuji spoke about the advantages. Okay, first he spoke about the disadvantages of Kali Yuga, and then to encourage all of us, he shared the great blessings Kali Yuga has to offer us. And then he led a very engaging discussion on the practical aspects of chanting the holy names. There was a lot of Q&A about practical issues that we face as sadhakas. Thank you, Prabhu. Next, we would like to thank our lead singer for Gaur Aarti, His Grace Jai Kanhai Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. And then very ecstatic Narsimha Aarti. Prabhu, sorry, I don't know your name. Tapta Hem Gauranga Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for leading the Narsimha prayers. Next, we would like to welcome any first-time visitors. So anybody visiting here for the first time, please raise your hand. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for visiting ISKCON of Silicon Valley for the very first time. Let's chant everybody together a Maha Mantra to welcome all the first-time visitors. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. So we have one sponsor today for Sunday Feast, and sponsorship is coming from Kallol De Prabhu. He is sponsoring today's feast in memory of his father, Shri Karuna Kanta De. Prabhu, if you are here, would you like to come up here? Okay, maybe Prabhu is not here. So we thank him for his generosity and offering prasadam to the Vaishnavas on the occasion and the memory of his father. Thank you, Prabhu. We can give a round of applause. So next, let's talk about prasadam. So cooks for today. Does somebody have the names for the cooks for today? Oh, you have the names? Okay. So Today's feast was cooked by Sindhu Kanya Mataji, Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, Guru Prasad Prabhu, Anusha Mataji, Hema Mataji, Lekha Mataji, Sumadhura Gopi Mataji, Krishangi Mataji, Shankar Prabhu, Saili Mataji, and Rajneesh Prabhu. Thank you to all the cooks. Next, we'll go into Prasadam prayers. Somebody can lead.
Sharira avidya jar jadendriya kahika vipele vishaya sadhare dharmadhi jivayati prabhu mai sukhamati jake jeta katrina Krishna Bharadharama Purivare Swaprasadana Chayana Vikapao Radha Krishna Premedato Sri Chaitanya Premedako Sri Chaitanya Nita Mahaprasade Govinde Shri Mahaprasad ki jai. Please come take prasadam. Thank you. Prasadam will be served out.